All right, let's get into some climate change news. Sorry it took so long to get here. And there's a lot. This is still political, but this has to do with climate change because supposedly Joe Biden has this big climate change plan. Supposedly this is the one thing that he's running on that people are like, oh yeah, he's going to help. Climate activists push Biden to cut ties with industry-friendly energy advisors. However, here's the reality of Joe Biden. With President Trump's poll numbers sinking, he's increasingly turning to fossil fuel industry for support, rallying oil patch workers and executives during a stop at a fracking rig. Well, that's President Trump, of course he is. In West Texas's Permian Basin in late July, the president stood in front of his stacked oil drums and declared victory over spring's historic crash in oil prices that continue to throttle most of the U.S. oil and gas industry. Reeling after more than 100,000 job losses since February and an overall decline in demand, fossil fuel executives and lobbyists have poured more than $936,000 into Trump's re-election bid in hopes of keeping a staunch ally in the White House. The U.S.'s two largest oil giants, Exxon and Chevron, lost $1.1 billion and $8.27 billion, respectively. Ha, ha, ha. Take that, Exxon and Chevron. Suck it. We've never seen a decline of this magnitude and pace before, even relative to the historic periods of demand volatility following the global financial crisis and as far back as the 1970s oil and energy crisis. So anyways, moving on. We know all about Trump. We don't really need to... We understand all of this. While Biden has refused to endorse a Green New Deal, he has championed several far-reaching Sanders-Biden Unity Task Force recommendations on climate. Well, all right. What does that mean, really? Biden's $2 trillion climate plan calls for 100% clean energy or net zero emissions by 2035. Okay, well, fairly decent, and sweeping infrastructure upgrades that would create millions of new jobs. I'm not sure that jobs are going to help us. But anyways, it also includes a commitment to invest 40% of the clean energy money in historically disadvantaged and disproportionately polluted communities of color. Biden is largely pitching his clean energy agenda, the second plank of his economic recovery plan, as an economic stimulus that will help clean up the environment. It includes putting people to work plugging thousands of abandoned oil and gas wells. His original plan called for spending $1.7 trillion over 10 years and hope to achieve net zero emissions before 2050. That was his original plan. So super, super weak sauce. His new proposal drastically accelerates the timeline and investment and has won over many Sanders-wing progressives and environmentalists. Because they're so easy to win over, I guess. I don't know. The plan has come far enough that the Sunrise Movement, after giving Biden's previous proposal an F, has now agreed to campaign for him. So I guess it didn't take much, right? Just, $300,000 more dollars. Or $300 billion more dollars. So that's quite a bit more. Just as progressives helped shape Biden's climate plan, they have also won on key climate proposals in the party's larger policy platform, a draft of which was released last month and is largely in line with Biden's climate policy goals. So here we go. R.L. Miller, chair of California Democratic Party's Environmental Caucus and member-elect to the Democratic National Committee on the advisory committee of the DNC Climate Council, told Truth Out she pushed several key climate-related amendments to the platform, including a commitment to limit planetary warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius in line with scientific guidance. Another amendment she pushed would have added an end date for the production and sale of gasoline-powered cars, but failed. Sorry, we can't put an end date on that. While Biden's plan does not commit to getting the country off fossil fuels, sorry, we can't do that either. Along the timeline, the IPCC recommends the fact that Biden and DNC were willing to put 1.5 degrees in the platform. Okay, well, that's fine. However, it's 1.5 degrees right now, so I don't know. That's pretty much just very, very minimal. In the platform tells me that he's absolutely on the right path. Okay. Um, a lot of Obama-era regulations were well-intentioned and may have been based on cutting-edge science of 2012, but the science has changed, Miller said. The science tells us that we have to go faster. Much, much faster. Biden's climate plan, here we go. Biden's climate plan avoids the part of the equation entirely. So hold on. Global oil and gas production needs to fall 37% and 25% respectively this decade to avert planetary warming of more than 1.5 degrees. Okay, so that, math is super, super not tethered to reality. But anyways, but we'll go beyond that. But Biden's climate plan avoids that part of the equation entirely. So this equation, math equation that doesn't make any sense, wasn't even something that they were going to put in there. And to make matters worse, his plan is now garnering support from the very same oil and gas industry that needs to be ramped down to ensure a stable climate future, and that is working desperately to fill Trump campaign coffers ahead of November. There is a lot of room in there for oil and gas, Matt Gallagher, president of the Parsley Energy, a West Texas oil producer, recently told the New York Times of Biden's climate plan. So Biden's climate plan has a lot of room in there for oil and gas. The industry has praised the plan for its proposed investments in carbon capture and sequestration, which prevents greenhouse gas emissions from reaching the atmosphere. So we can burn it, but we need to trap it. Ha, ha, ha. Are we really going to do that? Allowing industry to continue extracting and burning fossil fuels in perpetuity. Guys, so this is all bullshit. All bullshit. All bullshit. That's all you need to know. This is all bullshit. Ooh, he really cares about the environment. This is all bullshit. I'm telling you right now. All of this is to make millennials or, so-called progressives feel like somehow Biden cares about the environment. He does not. Yes, spoiled road lampposts. Heat wave happening in California right now. Yeah, we're right here. We're going to be in the 90s today, 94 tomorrow, 100 and 102 Friday and Saturday, and then 98, 98, 98, 98 for the next 4 days. So literally 100 degrees for the next 7 days, 6 or 7 days. At least right here where I'm at. That's a heat wave. That's a pretty good heat wave going on. North California, 100 all week. Right, John Ziggy Kelleher. Your Environment Seattle would love to have more details on why you disagree with the IPCC, because it's too little. Too little, too late. And the IPCC had fossil fuel industry people in the crafting of their policy, in the crafting of their climate plan. They okayed the climate plan that the IPCC proposed or endorsed. So there was room in there for the fossil fuel industry to say, like, yeah, this works for us. It's not fast enough. They're still living in 1.5, we got to keep it under 1.5 by 2050. I'm sorry. 1.5 is going to happen this decade. 1.5 is going to happen in the next 4 years. If we're not already there. Some people think we're already at 1.5 right now, based on how you calculate global temperature. We're already at 1.5 according to some calculations of how you calculate global temperature. The WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, said that we are going to reach 1.5 in the next 4 years. So 1.5 by whatever it is the IPCC says that we need to keep 1.5 under, it's just clearly not even tethered to reality. They're not even tied to reality. I'm sorry. They're not. They're not tied to science. And yeah. So And if you want to look up the fact that the IPCC, the Paris Agreement, and their recommendations, all of that, the fossil fuel industry was involved in all of those negotiations. Let's move on. Talking about the derecho, or the straight line storms that were happening in Illinois and the Midwest, did a lot of damage. A lot of damage. A friend of mine is still without power, a friend who lives in Chicago. Tens of thousands in northern Illinois still without power Tuesday, following storms that spawned, and Wednesday, spawned Rogers Park tornado. It was like a dinosaur running at us. So serious damage there. Also in Iowa, Monday storm impacts some 10 million acres of Iowa farmland. So, hey, extreme weather events affecting what? Affecting crops, crop production, food availability. This is happening in Russia, happening in the United States, happening all over the place. When will this get to a point at which it starts impacting, how much the people of the world have to eat? One can only guess. This is from yesterday. Monday storm impacts some 10 million acres of Iowa farmland. Monday's derecho storm potentially impacted some 10 million acres of Iowa farmland and millions of bushels of grain storage in the top U.S. corn-growing state. Early estimate shows that tens of millions of bushels worth of commercial grain storage, as well as millions of bushels of on-farm storage bins owned by producers, were either impacted, destroyed, or severely damaged by the storm. Neg told a news conference. That's Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Neg. It is too late for farmers to try to replant, agronomists said, given that the harvest typically begins in either September or October. Not good, guys. Not good. We had floods last year, major floods impacting food growing, crop growing. That was a major hit. So moving on. Again, this is a little bit. I'm just reading this for the tweet. David Wallace Wells. By July, the ice had dwindled to a record low extent for that month. Talking about 2020, it could disappear as soon as 2035. So scientists said this week. Okay, let's say that's startling. I'm going to read this tomorrow, this actual article, but given how low the ice is right now in 2020, do you think we have 15 more years of ice left in the Arctic? I find that even still, a very strange prediction that we are going to have Arctic ice into all the way to 2035. Floods. So many floods, guys, happening all over the planet. Again, extreme weather events everywhere. Let me show you this. This is in Seville, Spain. This is from Peter Kalmus. Climate breakdown will not go away by ignoring it. It will just keep getting worse. We have indeed climate breakdown happening all over the planet. We have, storms destroying crops and, knocking out power in the Midwest. We have incredible amounts of rain all over Asia. It seems like every single country in Asia is being impacted by heavy rains, monsoon rains. Japan being affected by very high heat. Japan is on fire, not actually on fire, but look, summer is definitely getting hotter, and cities and regions not normally used to such high temps now impacted. How is the climate change plan looking at the moment? I don't know, not very good. We have temperatures getting into the 35°C range in Japan. This has been ongoing. Of course, every single summer in Japan has been getting hotter and more humid. Heavy rain here, impacting Korea. Hold on. Anyways, as you can see, massive flooding in Korea. Flooding in Spain, flooding in Korea. Flooding still affecting China, Bangladesh, India, etc. We have 147 watching, 73 likes. Please like up the video and make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Subscribed. CB Unglesby, heat does this, only the beginning, and that's right. Could it be warming? The ocean's warm, the water vapor goes in the air. There's a lot of water vapor in the air. It gets hotter, everything gets hotter. Storms get stronger, rain gets stronger, hurricanes get stronger. Gosh, do you think it's global warming? This isn't necessarily climate change, but I just wanted to play you this tank explosion in Russia. This seems to be happening a lot as well too. Just random explosions everywhere. There was an explosion in Baltimore, gas explosion, the Beirut explosion. Let's watch this explosion of a oil tank, fuel tank in Russia. Boom. Who knows what caused that? I just want to play something that went boom for you. I was just reading about India selling coal blocks the other day, and apparently it's much worse than that article. So they, they're 200. They're selling 200 coal blocks in the next over the next 5 years. This is from late last year. So they were saying something like 5 coal blocks were for sale, but there's 200. Beginning this financial year, first tranche of coal auctions for commercial sale purposes is likely to begin this financial year with about 40 coal blocks with peak mining capacity in the range of 1 million tons to 50 million tons per annum to cater to needs of all coal consumers, sources said. So coal going up on the planet, like I said, or I read a few months ago to y'all. Coal burning has doubled in the last decade. So when people want to tell you like, oh no, we're closing all the plants down, it's getting much better. No, it is not. That is a lie. Jennifer Elizabeth, what's with all the booms lately anyways? Yeah, and there's that too. Lots of people hearing weird booms. I don't know if that has to do with the imminent alien, visitations, or I don't know what. You tried to X out the ads? Yeah, that's funny. Keith Hayes, people mining coal where people could experience thermogeddon makes no sense at all. It does not. Human love solidarity. Fukushima has been leaking for 3,443 days. TCR Galaxy, power your Tesla with coal while you still can. Okay, a couple more things I want to cover today. An oil spill. I don't know if I covered this. In Ecuador, an oil spill in the time of coronavirus, a preventable oil spill in Ecuador's Amazon region, is from July 14th. In the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, puts indigenous lives at risk. What would you do in the case of fire during a tornado? Of a fire during the tornado, leave the building or stay inside. Public safety drills generally prepare people for one disaster, not for two simultaneously. Simultaneous ones that require opposing responses, but this is what Ecuador's indigenous people are facing today. As the country is struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic spiraling out of control, the Amazon region has been hit by one of the worst oil spills in decades. The overlap of the two crises in one of the world's most biodiverse hotspots has made a bad situation even worse. Amazonian peoples whose social distancing skills have been cruelly honed by centuries of old world epidemics have suddenly found that the water, fish, game, and crops that would allow them to self-isolate in the forest are contaminated by oil. The COVID-19 pandemic hit Ecuador extremely hard with a death toll amongst the highest in the world, but across the globe, no ethnic group has been more affected by COVID-19 than indigenous peoples. The UN has called on countries to address the disproportionate impact of COVID on racialized groups. Amazonia rang early alarm bells for COVID-19. Members of the Quechua people, one of the indigenous groups most affected by COVID-19 in Ecuador, were self-isolating in their territories when crude oil started flowing down the river. On April 7th, 2020, a landslide ruptured 3 pipelines along the Coca River. A landslide. I wonder if that was climate change induced or extreme weather induced. I'm curious. Spilling at least 15,800 barrels of crude oil in a region long affected by a history of toxic dumping by the Chevron Texaco Oil Company. The oil spread downriver, first along the Coca River, then along the Napo, a tributary of the Amazon, eventually even reaching Peru, contaminating water, soils, plants, and wildlife along the way. One morning, children came home from the river covered in oil. That is really sad. By the next, the fish caught in the river tasted of oil. This is Ecuador's largest oil spill in 15 years, affecting 120,000 people during the pandemic's peak. The rupture was foreseeable. The pipelines passed by the foot of the active Reventador volcano, in an area of great seismic activity, where in 1987 an earthquake destroyed more than 40 kilometers of pipelines. This is negligence on the part of these oil companies. Of course, will they face any repercussions? Doubtful. The government made the already unstable terrain even more dangerous when it built the Codo Sinclair hydroelectric dam in 2016. All right. Yeah, let's build a dam in there too. Come on, guys. Green energy. A pipe dream from the 70s, the dam was rejected outright as unfeasible because of the high volcanic activity in the region. You know where this is going. But President Rafael Correa rekindled interest in the dam and eventually built an even bigger version of it. We're going all in, guys, on hydropower and fossil fuels. Come on, let's go. It was financed by China. Thank you. Thanks, China. China, we care about climate change, China. Through loans to be repaid mostly in the form of oil, and was mired in corruption scandals from the beginning. Of course it was. As predicted by environmental scientists, the dam unleashed a process of river fragmentation that aggravated soil instability by retaining sediments and provoking headward erosion. In a disaster foretold, erosion has quickly moved upriver. So not caused by climate change, but by climate destruction. The first serious warning came in February when the Cascada San Rafael, Ecuador's tallest waterfall, suddenly disappeared after a massive landslide. But neither Ecuador's national oil company Petro Ecuador, there's a catchy name, somebody thought hard about that one, nor the public corporations that manage the pipelines reacted. They just sat around and had some more delicious drinks. When the pipelines ruptured, those entities failed to inform indigenous communities, nor did they offer meaningful medical care or environmental repair. What is more, the pipeline corporation reports providing the equivalent of only a glass of water per person per day, an insignificant amount compared with the recommended 4 gallons in times of COVID-19. We are hungry is a common refrain in affected communities, with isolation in the forest now impossible and with inadequate relief supplies being bought in by people who might contaminate them. Indigenous peoples have become even more vulnerable to the coronavirus. Yeah. This is disgusting. In response, a diverse set of nearly 40 actors is suing Ecuador's government. Individuals, indigenous organizations, and NGOs are demanding protective legal action that includes immediate environmental and social reparations and an unholy alliance. The state-owned oil and pipeline companies share the bench of the accused with the ministries of health and environments. The defendants deny any responsibility for the spill. Of course they do, claiming it was an unpredictable natural disaster. Holy shit. These people should be tried for crimes against humanity and the environment. That's what they should be tried for. I can't read anymore, guys, because I'm really too sad. I am too sad to read on. I can't read any more of this. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel. The links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there.